Well, hello, it's February 1994. Welcome to this video about 3/4 of an hour, which tells the story of St Mark's railway station in Lincoln, the old Midland line, as far as North Hykeham anyway. It was rerouted in 1985 and this station closed in May. As you can see, it's in a bit of a state now, although they're talking about a supermarket, but they've been saying that for 10 years. It's a pretty sorry sight, really. We're standing here in Lincoln and we're waiting for the 3 o'clock train, which would be the high-speed train on its way to Newark by the old route through St Mark's Station. Should be here any minute now. The Intercity Cleethorpes King's Cross train approaches on the line laid out in 1848 by the Manchester, Sheffield and Lincolnshire Railway, passing under Pelham Bridge, which was opened in 1958, replacing the old Durham Ox level crossing. The land to the left of the picture is now occupied by the Magistrates' Court, as you will see later on at the end of the film. After a brief halt, the train continues towards Newark and the East Coast Main Line. The wasteland in the foreground and the timber bridge over the River Witham were once occupied by the old Midland goods yard. Marks Station was completed at the end of 1846, although the Midland line from Nottingham opened on August the 4th, 1846. Sunday afternoon DMU, originating in Lincoln, arrives from the depot and backs into the platform, then leaves for Newark and beyond. This small building, which controlled the St Mark's level crossing, was built in 1848 by the Manchester, Sheffield and Lincoln Railway. Meanwhile, across the level crossing and up the High Street, we can see the Great Northern Railway level crossing, which still exists, and the cathedral. Also, with a similar view of the cathedral, is this point near Lincoln West level crossing, which we visited many times to obtain views of the DMU, the HSTs, and this regular 31-haul train to Derby from Cleethorpes. The box and the track have all long since disappeared. With this favourite view of the cathedral, we see the 31 approaching the Avoiding Line Bridge. Then we go over to Peter Jacklin.
Stood on the bridge that spans the Newark to Lincoln line. In the far distance, on the Avoiding Line, you can see the Skew Bridge.
This brick-built skew bridge carried the line across the foss, an ancient ditch, part of Lincoln's early defences. The avoiding line was built in 1882 to take freight and mainline diversions from Holmes Yard directly towards Peterborough or Boston, avoiding the several level crossings in the city of Lincoln. Another 31 crosses the foss, heading for Newark. The new spur was built just to the left of this point. A wet Sunday afternoon, the 11th of March 1984, we're underneath the avoiding line bridge, sheltering from the rain as the high-speed train heads for Newark, followed immediately, as usual, by the local DMU. The 29th of March 1984, I took a ride on the DMU to Highcombe, the first station on the line, just to have a ride on this bit of old Midland track before it closed. so after this 5-minute journey from St Mark's, we got off the train at Hykeham Station. You'll notice on the left there's the old platform, which had been replaced by the timber one in the distance. This one was taken on a later occasion, and it shows that the old platform had now been taken away and the train stops at the timber platform at Hykeham. After leaving Hykeham, we go back to the avoiding line and our friend Peter Jackson.
Since we were last here, they've removed the Skoo Bridge, lowered the track and built the new one, which takes the line round into Lincoln Central as opposed to the old route that took it to St Mark's.
Well, thanks Peter, and here the civil engineers are working on the new spur. They're removing the keep rails from the newly laid track prior to fitting long length welded rails. This was about half a mile of double track connecting the Midland line with a realigned Bultham curve, thus conducting the trains into Lincoln Central about 6 months before the line opened. The first week in May 1985 saw much activity at this point, where the new spur would be connected to the existing main line. Meanwhile, the lunchtime Class 31 and DMUs still ran via the old route. On the last day of service, only a handful of enthusiasts were there at St Mark's as the last lunchtime trains arrived and left from St Mark's Station. First we see the Derby Cleethorpes, and then we see the Lincoln Newark DMU leaving the station. It's the 11th of May 1985, the last day of St Mark's Station as we know it. We're waiting for the 12:29 to crew to leave the station. On Monday this train will leave from Central Station. And so, shortly after 11 p.m, the last service train arrived from Nottingham to a big reception and quite a few enthusiasts present and on board. The large round plate was presented by Lincoln Railway Society and is now at the Lincolnshire Rail Museum at Burley Marsh.
Yeah, just.
The DMU finally heads to the depot. At 5 a.m. next morning, British Rail staff were slewing and jointing the two tracks to complete the new line. The old panels were being removed by crane. On the new curve, the ballast trains were on standby and final preparations were made. The Class 31s were in the standard blue of the day, number 31464. While this work was going on, back on the old line, the signal and telegraph men were removing signalling equipment. This arm now resides in my back garden. It was the home signal protecting Lincoln West level crossing.
again. Whoever told you what. Yeah, lads. You got it? Go down slowly for you, look. There you go.
As track levelling proceeds on the new line, we see the first service train headed by 31438 passing over the new spur. The track levelling machine contacts the signalman before moving out of the path of the HST, which is travelling wrong road, ankle deep in gravel. Craig and Tenney. Well, British Rail weren't the only people recovering signals that day. This chap had paid £10 for the privilege of taking away this LNER timber posted backing up signal.
Next stop, 38 Clyde Avenue.
Today I've been down the railway since 5 o'clock this morning, on and off. Got back there about 10 o'clock in time for them to see him just finishing off the last joint at the junction. Saw the first train on the new line at 12:15. Saw the high speed, supposed to be 8 minutes past 2, ended up about 25 to 3. And that chap isn't the only one who got himself a little bit of St Mark's line for a souvenir. I got myself this lot. How like that? It's going to be erected in the back garden. So that's the end of St Mark's line as we know it.
This railway museum is about to open a new exhibit, because all these British Rail tickets are about to become extinct. It seems we had so many exotic varieties that finding the right fare could be a little confusing. But from May the 12th, you'll simply be choosing from standard tickets, cheap day returns, or lots more savers. And that, we think, will be a weight off everyone's mind. British Rail.
Well, this is the site of Lincoln West level crossing, only a couple of months after the line closed. This was the scene at St Mark's, looking from the High Street, probably up to a year after the line closed. Lincoln station signal box was still there, although it got badly vandalised and was later removed. By 1994, in February, the station was almost unrecognisable. This was where the HSTs once ran to King's Cross, across this bridge. Meanwhile, on the High Street, across the road where the trains once came from Cleethorpes, there's a new magistrates' court. The 1848 crossing keeper's hut was still there, now in use as a tobacconist's. And this, one day, may be a supermarket. Who knows?